So we heard in our second reading today, be patient until the coming of the Lord. In 1930, a small church in the rural area of Spain somebody painted this fresco of what's commonly called Ecce Homo, Behold the Man. It's a painting of Jesus during his passion, and those words that come from John's Gospel. By 2012, as this picture indicates, this is a blow-up of a photo where you can see there's been a lot of water damage. This was a fresco, so it was painted right on the wall. So it needed to be restored. 80-year-old Cecilia Gutierrez decided to take matters into her own hands. Not necessarily professional artist, and certainly not one trained in art restoration. She nonetheless did a painting, frankly, just painted over this beautiful piece of artwork, and this is what resulted. This is what happens when you think you know what you're doing with restoration. This is so bad that people started calling it Ecce Mono. Behold the monkey. It's a good lesson for us. You know, the Advent season is a reminder that in many ways we're all undergoing an ongoing restoration. It's part of the life of grace in the resurrection of Jesus Christ. You know, that new life we first received in baptism. And the restoration work is done by the master artist, the one who created us. And oftentimes we somehow get into our heads that the restoration work is something we do. Like somehow we can be so engaged in self-improvement and somehow are the agents of true change and transformation in our lives that we can start thinking we know a lot about that kind of work. We might even think of ourselves as great artists, painters of our own life, that we can somehow do the restoration on our own, instead of letting somebody who really knows how to do this do that work. And this is what usually happens to our life. It's a hot mess. It is actually interesting that this is called Behold the Monkey. Because when we actually try to do too much restoration work on ourselves, we become less than human. This is what the life of grace in the resurrection of the Lord is all about, is that we become most fully human. Remember, we're getting ready to celebrate the incarnation, when the Son of God became human, so that we could become most human, who connect our lives to His. And so there is a process that happens when the Lord is working His restoration on us. And that process does entail some time and some patience for us. Like a good art restoration, you actually need to prepare the surface. You need to do a lot of cleaning. You need to remove a lot of dirt before you even get into adding more paint. And this is where we come back to the prophet Isaiah. As I've been inviting us to journey with him, to really dive deep into his scriptures and his whole mentality. Remember, Isaiah the prophet, first and foremost, is a prophet of hope. There's no one better in the Advent season to spend time with, because it is a season of hope. And we heard this beautiful passage in our first reading today that just fills us with all kinds of hope because of all the images. That's Isaiah 35. Might I invite you to do some homework? Because it's very clear that you really can't read Isaiah 35 without reading Isaiah 34. So this is your homework assignment. Go and study Isaiah 34 and then go into 35. The reason this is important is, first of all, the context is that Isaiah is speaking in the voice of somebody who is in exile. Remember, during the great Babylonian exile, there was this removal from the homeland. Imagine the trauma. Imagine the longing to go back home. In Isaiah 34, we hear of the Edomites, the ones who have occupied their land, and how the power of the Lord will remove them completely from the land that now will receive those who have been on exile and coming home. That's 35. We don't get a good sense of what it takes for the Lord to really come in a more beautiful way, to continue to restore our lives. We're not aware of all the cleansing that has to happen on an ongoing basis, that we can't do ourselves either. If you want to know just how powerful that is, here's a little preview. There's an image of the one who is doing this clearing out, whose sword is dripping with blood. Ooh, there you go. But then we have this beautiful image of the people coming home, and it's almost like better than it was before. The desert land that seems like there's nothing that can grow from it. All kinds of beautiful, colorful, vibrant life springs forth. Those who are not able to see or hear or speak or walk, it's not just enough that they can do those things. The restoration, and we know this in our own spiritual lives, when grace is flowing in us, we see things differently. We hear things clearly. We don't even speak, it's like we are singing. It's not like we're walking, we're leaping for joy. This Gaudete Sunday, when we're rejoicing, is part of the Christian life. So full of joy because of the coming of the Lord. Jesus reminds us He is the one they were waiting for to come. Haven't you seen around me those who have been healed? Those who can see and hear and speak and walk now? God has come into our midst. God is coming into our midst. If we understand the process, that we can't do the restoration, and if we try, it'll be a mess. And let the Lord have the space to do this. Even at times when some of the purification is when in our spiritual lives and our prayers, those things that sort of spoke to us before or seemed to really carry us through, they seem to themselves to run a little bit dry. And it's only the Lord continuing to purify us and to allow us to go even deeper into that love relationship He wants to have for us. We have to trust Him to be the master artist and the continuing restorer of the beauty of our life, the beauty of a life in His grace and love. But we have to allow Him the space. We have to, at times, wait for the process to work through. So not just in this Advent season, but a reminder of a part of the Christian life. Let's continue to pray for a constant restoration. Pray that the Lord will purify us and clear out that which is in the way, to celebrate the vibrancy and the life that His Spirit dwells within us. And in the meantime, let us be patient until the coming of the Lord.